So second battle of Panipat, it was fought between whom? On one hand, we had Behram
Akbar.
and Akbar. Yes, and on the other hand, we had whom?
Hemu.
King Hemu. It
Hemachandra.
was Hemu, okay? And then where it was fought, which place? The same battle where the first battle was fought,
Panipat.
right? And now in this battle, if you will remember, it the same history has been repeated once again, right? Earlier, what happened with Babur, the same things had happened even with over here with
Akbar.
Akbar, right? Here, if you will see, Hemu was also well equipped with all the weapons, and he had all war elephants as well. But still, he got defeated, right? Yes, and before the second battle of Panipat, Hemu had conquered or acquired Delhi and Ajmer, and he himself declared the independent ruler of these places. But then after the battle, what had happened? When Akbar and Behram Khan defeated Hemu, they took back again those places, which Delhi, Agra, and Ajmer. Okay, they brought these territories again under the rule of
Akbar.
Mughals. Yes, Akbar. Yeah, it's same. Mughal Akbar is the third Mughal ruler, right? Fine. Have you understood till here, which we had done in the morning?
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
further. In 1560, Akbar decided to take a more active role in administration of his empire. Therefore, this is very important. Please underline this. He dismissed Behram Khan and sent him to Mecca. Mecca is a religious pilgrim place, right? Which is available, which is there in Saudi Arabia. So now Akbar, what he wanted to do, he wanted to take over all the control in his hand, because it was Behram Khan who was doing the administration on behalf of Akbar, just because Akbar was small, young, and inexperienced. But now, after defeating, Hemu, and after so much of exposure, he decided that he should take over his territories into his own administration, and therefore he sent Behram Khan to where?
To Mecca.
Mecca.
Am I
You are frozen.
audible?
Yes, now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, therefore, he had sent Behram Khan to which place?
Mecca.
Mecca.
Okay, fine. Let's go to the next page. Conquests and expansions. Now we will see which are the places which were conquered by Akbar, and how did Akbar, expanded his territories. Before doing this, you remember in the first period, I had explained to you all that it was Akbar who had extended his territory, right? To till where did he extend his territories? Anyone?
Double.
Yes. Which continent? Which continent?
Ma'am, he had conquered the Indian subcontinent except
Yes,
the
very good.
southern part.
Except the southern part. Very good, Simran. Okay. Now we will see the expansion and his conquest. Akbar began his conquest with his attack on Malwa. Number one. Is it highlighted? Everything has been highlighted?
Ma'am, I didn't highlight it.
Okay, fine. So please encircle that. His first attack was where? In Malwa.
Malwa.
You all can just encircle Malwa and put number one over there, so that you remember. It will become easier for you all to remember all his conquests. Okay, which he acquired in the year 1561. It was an area of a strategic importance, since it led to the Deccan region, which was richly fertile. Okay, so please underline this particular place, Malwa, had a strategic importance. Why? What strategic importance, and why it was important? Because it has rich, fertile lands. Okay. Now, if the land is fertile of any one particular territory or region, definitely it is going to give lots of production. Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Akbar gave its ruler Bas Bahadur an important post in his court. In the year 1564, number 2, please encircle Gondwana and write down about that number 2. In the year 1564, Akbar conquered which place? Gondwana, okay, but later returned to its ruler. Gujarat was coveted area with its many ports that dominated trade with West Asia. Okay, and now by the year 1573, what did Akbar do? He conquered even Gujarat. Why did he conquer Gujarat? Because Gujarat was a important place. It had many ports, and if a place, if a territory which has many ports, where in
It
that
will help in trade and
very
e-commerce.
good, very good. It is going to help in trade and commerce. Please underline third. Which was the third conquest?
Gujarat.
Gujarat.
Okay. Fourth one. Another region rich in culture was Bengal, which seemed out to reach for the Mughals. After Gujarat, which place did he conquer?
Bengal.
Very good. Please underline Bengal. And if you see, one by one, after each year, he's went on conquering each and every places. See, it's starting from 1561, then 1564. Now in the year 1573, he conquered Gujarat, right? Now let's see what happens in the year 1576. Okay, just a minute. Next, another region rich in culture was Gujarat, which seemed out of reach for the Mughals. In the year 1576, Akbar had defeated what? Akbar defeated who? Am I audible, children?
Yes,
Yes, the Afghan ruler, and thus annexed Bengal. Closer to the end of his reign, Akbar conquered, underline, kingdoms of Kashmir. After Gujarat, Bengal, after Bengal, which?
Kingdoms of Kashmir.
Kingdoms of Kashmir. Okay. Next, Sindh. In the year after Kashmir, it was Sindh. After Sindh, it was Kandahar.
Kandahar.
Okay. He then turned, please underline Kandahar also. Can you see one after the other? He kept on expanding conquering and expanding his territories. He then turned his attention once again to the Deccan, and by the year 1601, he had annexed Berar, Khandesh, and Ahmednagar. Okay, please underline these three places. Okay. His final years were troubled by the rebellious behavior of his son. And who was his son? Prince
Salim.
Prince Salim. Later on, when he became the emperor, he was known as Jahangir. Okay. His name was Salim. Please underline. Successor of Akbar was who?
Prince Salim.
Yes. And other name of Prince Salim is Jahangir. Okay. So Babur, successor of son of Babur?
Humayun.
Son of Humayun?
Akbar.
Son of Akbar?
Prince Salim.
Jahangir.
Clear? Got the
Yes,
family
ma'am.
tree? Are you getting the family tree?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Can
ma'am.
you see how easily he went on defeating and conquering various places and expanding his territories? That's the reason, he was, and it's not just that he was able to conquer. Oh my God, there are so many people in the waiting room. Okay, fine. So he expanded his territories, and then towards the end of his rule, it was his son named Prince. Okay, he was troubled by this rebellious son. Now we all know what was the trouble. Why was Akbar, troubled by his son Prince? Do you all know?
Yes.
Ma'am,
For the throne. For the
Okay,
power of
for the throne. Was it for the throne and what else? Anything
He
else?
wanted the power.
Rebellion.
Okay, okay, fine. I'll just get back to you on this later. Next page. Now we saw how he expanded his territories. Now, on one hand, if he's expanding his territories, there should be proper administration also, isn't it? Just,
Yes, ma'am.
conquering the territories and expanding the territory is not enough. He should have proper administration, right? So let's see what administrative strategies did Akbar utilized. Akbar had instituted an exemplary administrative system that displayed foresight and wisdom. His administrative structure proved to be the foundation of the Mughal administration for later years. Please underline, he not only expanded his territories, but he brought up the administrative structure in such a way that it was followed, okay, and practiced by later Mughal rulers also. Right now, let's see what were the changes, what were the reforms did Akbar bring in his territory. Okay, so that the administration system works smoothly. Are you all ready to know how was the administrative systems during the rule of Akbar?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Let's see. The Mughal emperor was administered with the emperor at the head. He was the final authority on all matters related to military, political, or judicial. So, Mughal Empire had an emperor. Okay, who was the emperor? He was the head. Okay,
Mm.
they had appointed an emperor who was the head, and now this head, what was his duties? To look upon all the matters, whether it was related to political matter,
Military or
military or
judicial.
judicial issues. Okay. Now the emperor, please underline, Mughal, the emperor was commander-in-chief and the supreme judge. Thus, the Mughal emperor required to have a great personality, shrewd farsightedness, and judicious wisdom. He was assisted by a council of ministers and officers. These men were carefully appointed, promoted, or even dismissed by the emperor himself. Judiciously choosing the right person for the job would help the emperor in his administrative tasks. So, Mughal Empire had appointed an emperor as the head. Please underline the first line also. In the Mughal Empire, we had the emperor who was the head. The first line. Central administration, first line. Mughal Empire was administered with the emperor, emperor as the head. Now this emperor, as we know, he used to look on all the matters. Now this person, since he was having a crucial role to play, he had a very big tasks to be done, and he had lots of wisdom and with a great personality. Now this emperor had lots of council of ministers and officers who were working under his rule, under his leadership. Fine. So it was the emperor who would either appoint any minister or officer, or he could even dismiss any of the officers if he finds that the administrative task is not done properly by any of the officers, right? So this job was done. See, so minutely he kept an eye on each and every officers, right? Now, what were the duties he had assigned to the officers? Let's see that, right? Because it was emperor, and below emperor we had council of ministers, right? And officers. Clear? Now, wazir or diwan, please underline. Among the officers were the wazir. Have you heard wazir before?
Yes, ma'am, and chess.
Yes. So wazir was the head of the revenue or finance department. So please underline, wazir, head of the finance department. Okay, or revenue department. Now the wazir had to look after the management of all Jagir. Jagir means land. You remember we had done before also. Land was divided into different jagirs, right? and the
Yes.
land revenue was fixed as per the Jagirs. Now, Wazir was given the task of collecting or as the head of the revenue or finance department. So his job was to manage the Jagir lands. Please underline management of the Jagir's land. Okay. Being the head of the finance department, he used to manage the Jagir lands. Next officer was the Mir.
Mir Bakshi.
Mir.
Mirbaksh.
Yes. Now, he was the head of military department. Please underline. Military, just military department. Okay. Second officer, Mir Bakshi, military department head. Now, as a military department, what job he had to do? He was also the head of the Mansabdars and endorsed their salaries. And he was responsible for military appointments, military promotions, and intelligence gathering operations. Okay, please underline, as a military department, what duties he had? Military appointments, promotions.
He was also the head of Mansardar
Yes.
and endorsed their salaries. He was
So
responsible.
apart from being the head of the military department, one more duty was given to him. What was the other duty given to him? It was the Mansabdars. Okay, you know, we had already studied about the Mansabdari systems, Mansabdars. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Paid according to their position.
Yes. Now the next is Chief Sadri or Qazi. Please underline, the next officer was the Chief Sadr or Qazi. All right. So now let us see which department was given to him. Okay. He was the chief judge. Okay. Since he was the judge, what role did he had to play? He was responsible for the law of the land and he protected the laws of the Sharia. Qazi, it is the word itself tells you that he was responsible to make sure that whatever is there in the Shariat means the religious book, okay, the duties, okay. So he was responsible to make sure that it is being followed by the rest of the people, okay. Please underline, he was the judge, chief judge, and he was responsible to protect the laws of the Shariat. You remember we have done Shariat also before? Have you understood what does Shariat mean? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Next is Wakil. What does Wakil has to do? Next officer was Wakil. Please underline. Wakil was what? The prime minister who functioned more as an adversary head than one authority. Okay, Wakil was the prime minister. Please underline. And what, as a prime minister, what duty he had? He had to head an adversary. Okay, he was responsible, function more as an adversary with, okay, than one authority. So instead of just having one authority, he was the head of overall. Next officer was Mir
Saman.
Okay, now this officer, what duty he had? He was the supervisor of royal household. Royal household means what? This royal,
The king's house.
yes, royal household, the kings. Now who is it? That's Akbar's palace, right?
Akbar.
Yes, clear. Please underline Mir Saman and supervisor of royal household. See, now we have duties as we have it in your schools also. We have different departments and we have different heads, and we have different for different departments, different heads, different duties and responsibilities have been given, right? So similarly, now also, if you'll see the administrative system of our country, we have prime ministers, we have chief ministers, we have chief ministers according to states also. Earlier, that it was not divided into states. It was all one territory. We had monarchy system. It was not a democratic country at that time, right? So this is how the divisions of the officers were done, and this is how the duties were divided among each of the department. Clear, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, indirectly we are following the their system only right now.
Who? It is not, see, earlier it was the monarchy system. it is not that we are following their system exactly, but yes, we have the duties same, but it has been divided into different according to different states. Earlier we did not have states. Now also we have defense department, military department, yes or no? Finance department, budget sessions has commences. So now also we have that, but earlier it was different. Okay, earlier it was just one king, one ruler, and everything was in hands of that one king.
Ma'am, only the names have been changed or replaced.
Oh, true. Very good. Very good. Only the names have been changed. Very good, Nila. But please make sure that why I had asked you all to underline and mark, children, because you all might get an objective question based on this. Okay, they might even give you the name of the officer, and they will ask you, okay, tell me what is the duty and responsibility of this particular officer. Or they might give you the duty and responsibility and ask you, okay, which is this officer? Which department does this officer belong to? Clear? So just take a mark on it and write down objectives, OBJ. So you know that, okay, you'll have an objective question based on this. Shall I proceed further?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the Diwani Khas, the word Khas itself is telling what? Khas means private. Special, okay?
Special.
So Diwani Khas means private audience hall was used to hold meetings. Akbar called for headed these meetings regularly. Okay, so Diwani Khas was with private people. A hall was created where Akbar would meet these people regularly. And Diwani Aam, what does Diwani Aam means? Aam Janta.
Public.
Yes, okay. Normal public. So Diwani Aam was also made by Akbar. That hall was also created by Akbar. And this Diwani Aam was the public audience where Akbar would meet all his subjects. He would listen to their problems and solve them. Okay, one was Diwani Aam and one was Diwani Khas. If you see, most of the Bollywood movies has this, you know. I think it is there in Jodha Akbar as well, which has Hrithik Roshan and Aishwarya in that. Have you all seen anyone movie?
No, ma'am, not interested.
Okay. So that it has, you know, it has all these, you know, names which we are studying now, na Behram Khan and Mir Bakshi and Diwani Aam, Diwani Khas, all this is there in that. So if you all are free during vacations, have a look, see the movie. Okay, nice homework, right? To watch a movie. Okay, let's go on to the next page. Provincial administration. So this was the administration which we studied was a central one. Now we'll see provinces. We all know na, every territory was divided into small provinces, small regions.
Yes.
Okay, so provincial administration, what reforms, what changes did he bring? We'll study that. Akbar's empire was divided into how many provinces?
15
provinces. That means the whole territory which he had under his rule was divided into 15 small provinces, which were called as what?
Subas.
Subas. Okay, please underline. You might get a fill in the blank on this. The empire of Akbar was divided into 15 provinces and it was called dash?
Subas.
Okay, now each province was under the preview of provincial governor who was called as Subedar. Okay, so there was provinces which were called as Subas, and each province had a person, a head, who was called as Subedar. Okay, who would take care of that particular Suba. Clear till you, everyone?
Yes,
ma'am.
Next, the Subedar usually looked after the welfare of the people and the army. So now as a Subedar, we are listing what duties and responsibility he had. Okay, so first duty was to look at the welfare of the people and welfare of the army. Okay, second duty was to maintain law and order in his particular province. Whichever province has been given to him, he has to make sure that there is law and order maintained in his particular province. What was the third duty? He worked closely with the Diwan who kept records of the land revenue. Okay, So working with the divans. Okay, who were the divans? They were the ones who would keep the record of the land revenue. Okay. Along with the divan, he was also closer with whom? The kotwal. Who was kotwal? He was the person who was in charge of
Town administration.
very good town administration. Very good, Nilab. So clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Entire territory divided into how many subas?
15.
15.
And the person ruling each suba is called as?
Subedar.
Subedar.
And what were the duties of the subedar? Number
He
one,
would
Look
usually
after
look
the-
after the welfare of the people and the army. He also
Number two?
had to look had to
Maintain
look
law and
after the
order.
maintain
very good. Maintain
law
law
and
and order.
order in his province.
Number three, third duty.
He
He
worked
would
closely
keep
with Divan and Kotwal.
Okay, with the divan, he worked with the divan and the kotwal. What was the work of the divan?
to
Divan
keep
kept
the record of the land revenue.
What was the work of the kotwal?
Was in
Was
charge of
the
the
charge
town
of town
administration.
administration.
Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Now, the subas were further divided into districts, which were called as
Sarkars.
Okay. Now, we know that the suba was 15 provinces, that is 15 subas, it was divided into. Now, the subas are further divided into small districts, which is called as what? Sarkars.
Sarkars.
Please underline. You all can make a tree diagram also of it, children. It will become easier for you all to remember. Subas.
Like Akbar's territory, then divide
Yes.
into subas, then subas is
Correct.
divided into
Sarkars. Now,
Sarkars.
Sarkar is further divided into
Paraganas.
Paraganas.
Please underline. Sarkars are further divided into
Paragana.
Paraganas. What is a Paragana? Paragana means the smallest.
Smallest unit of
unit of
administration
administration
was the
was the
village which was headed by the panchayat.
Yeah, which was headed by the panchayat. Okay. Please underline, this is the meaning of the Paragana. Okay. What does the Paragana mean? It is the smallest unit of administration. Yes, Nilab, go ahead.
It is the smallest unit of administration was the village which was headed by the panchayat.
Correct. Clear?
Excuse me, ma'am, but in Shesha it
There
was
were government officials at every level that managed affairs. Okay. So there were government officials also which were managed at managed all the affairs. Clear till here, everyone? Provincial
ma'am.
administration.
Yes.
Everyone understood till here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any questions till here, children?
No, ma'am.
No questions?
No.
Anyone? Okay, we'll stop here for today because today we've done one central administration and other provincial administration. Tomorrow we'll do land revenue administration, which is completely different topic from this. Clear?